Pre-fight setup. Before you pull, here are the key things the raid needs to know. If you're under level 50, you must have fire resistance for phase 1 and 2. If you're level 50 and familiar with the fight, you do not need fire resistance jewelry. Everyone will need disease resist for phase 3 and 4. The consumables listed here are suggestions for overcoming the disease damage and fire damage for the Tel'Daedras boss fight. Healers. Don't use Night Spike. It reduces your wisdom and therefore your outgoing healing. Druids. Herode sheltering the raid will knock off Hymn of Devotion for paladins. If you are using sheltering, remember to not target the paladin within your group. If this happens, however, the paladin can reapply Hymn of Devotion. Maintain one talisman on the boss at all times. If the assigned talisman druid dies, have a druid to take their place in the talisman order. Clerics can gain mana on hit while auto-attacking the boss in phase 2 during the stack. This is the perfect opportunity to regain some lost mana. Melee. The safest location is behind Tel'Daedras. That is the back 180 degrees, or from wing to tail. Kinetic imbuement can be given to monks and rangers respectively. In phase 4, a volunteer with the best computer will be responsible for calling out the location of the fire sprites that spawn within a certain range of the boss at random locations. This role must have show visual effects on with render quality set to medium at the very least. Any lower settings and the sprites will not render on your screen. Once the first fire sprite is called, this volunteer will give a warning at 20 seconds, 10 seconds, and 5 seconds before the next fire sprite spawns. Tel'Daedras is a dragon for all species, targeted abilities, effects, and buffs, even when in human form. Dire Lords. Don't stack your phantasms in phase 1 unless you are the main tank of Tel'Daedras. Please allow your Dire Lord main tank to accrue 5 stacks of phantasms before beginning DPS. Dire Lords do not cast Deafening Whispers on Tel'Daedras during phase 1. Dire Lord should be using Deafening Whisper on cooldown during phase 2, 3, 4, and 5. Only one shaman should be assigned to applying the armor debuff to Tel'Daedras. This buff must maintain 100% uptime to increase the overall damage output of all melee DPS on the boss. Druids. Pre-thorn your groups prior to pulling. To reduce raid lag during the fight, you can lock your Pantheon Rise of the Fallen launcher at 70 frames per second, unequip your active torch on your character sheet, lower the visibility of nameplates to 0 before pulling, and turn off visual effects. Phase 1. Phase 1 begins the moment Tel'Daedras is engaged. This is a simple tank and spank, but positioning matters. As the fight progresses, Tel'Daedras will stun the entire raid whenever she changes phases. The main tank will position Tel'Daedras facing her throne to the northwest. If you are not tanking Tel'Daedras, stay out of her front 180 degrees, that is from wing to mouth. Burn down Tel'Daedras until her health passes the T in her name. At phase 2 transition, tank 2 steps into position at -377 by 1117. Phase 2. Tel'Daedras' health resets. Tel'Daedras' opening ability in phase 2 is an AoE stun. Following tank 2, melee and all casters will join tank 2 at his position in the room. The raid including casters, will begin auto-attacking Tel'Daedras from her rear flanks. Please note that anyone caught out of position, that is, not stacked on the rear end of the boss in phase 2, will die very quickly. When the boss's HP reaches the E in Tel, the boss shifts into phase 3. Tank 1 will bring the boss to the far left side of the boss room and face her towards the stairs on the left side. Once the boss is in position for phase 3, the moment phase 3 begins, the entire raid must switch to disease food and drink. Melee will move toward the boss, remaining in the before mentioned safe zones. Tel'Daedras, now ends HP, reaches the E in Tel'Daedras. The raid lead will call door, that is all melee DPS, and not the main tank, to move towards the door of the room. The boss shifts into phase 4. Every 30 seconds, a new fire circle will spawn on the ground. When a fire sprite spawns in this phase, the fire sprite caller will issue warnings as mentioned in the pre-fight setup of this video. This volunteer will be expected to maintain their responsibility throughout this phase. Main tank. If 3 fire circles spawn on the left of Tel'Daedras, Tank 1 will call for reposition. The entire raid will move away from the boss back towards the door, and the main tank will position the boss to avoid unnecessary fire damage during the reposition. And finally, phase 5. With no new abilities that could wipe the raid, but keeping in mind the other factors previously mentioned in this fight, it should be an easy kill from here on out. You may collect your loot. Congratulations, you have killed Tel'Daedras.